And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Podcast. Myself, Matt Likes Games, and my buddy Ham Solo of 5 Gaming. We've got things to talk about this week, but of course, before we get into any of it, we gotta talk about what we've been playing, what's been going on, and talk about what you've been playing. And in fact, just let it go because you just beat a game. So talk about it.
Oh yeah, man! I just beat Soccer 2, and that was great. It really was. I was telling you that I would have put it at my game of the year if it didn't have so many damn issues.
Oh yeah,
So many technical issues, but it is a powerful and super dope game, man. And I was so turned up at the end. Once I seen what was going on and what was happening, I thought one thing was gonna happen, and a totally different thing happened, and it made me feel really good. So yeah, that made me feel really happy. Let's see. It was easily it's between that and Elden Ring for the hardest games I've played this generation.
damn. Some high praise.
Persona can be kind of tough, especially when you're trying to follow a certain storyline. But then again, if you just kind of I don't know. I feel like that game is easy for the fact that you can look up a guide and kind of just do the right things and end up in the right situations, right? Where a game like Soccer or Elden Ring, you can read all the guides you want.
Yeah.
You still gotta go do it.
Yeah.
You still gotta go do it. And doing it is a lot harder than watching it get done. Obviously, right? I mean, anybody can sit back and watch a movie of somebody becoming a millionaire, but then you go try to do the exact same thing, and you're just lost, right? So I don't know. It was rough and tough. It is one of those games where you gotta be kind of a glutton for punishment. Literally right now, the credits are still rolling. Right now on my screen.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot of credits. Because I got done with it. I beat this game. Let me see. I'm going to go look at the picture that I took. 40 minutes ago. It's been 40 minutes of credits.
Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's about 40 minutes ago. Let me see. If I hit the Xbox button, it's still rolling. I was wondering if it was still rolling because my controller died. Or it didn't die, but it shut off, power save or whatever. It shut off, and I was thinking, maybe it was over. I turned it back on, and credits were still just cruising. Honestly, no disrespect, but the credits are rolling. It's the smoothest this game has been. Watching the credits, because man, I'm telling you, as much as I love this game. And I'm giving it its high praise because it deserves it, not because I feel bad for Ukraine and the developers. I mean, although that is true, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is true. But I don't feel like that's the reason I'm so hyped on this game. That part makes it feel even better, right? But I feel like this was just like a fight, like a true fucking fight, and it kind like I'm not gonna say oh it made me a better person because it didn't do all that, but like it definitely made me like kind of realize sometimes I'm like in like just same thing in Elden Ring, right? It makes you realize like, dude, I need to relax.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
like
dude.
like, like I'm going into this fight with so much stress that I'm not thinking straight. Because when I walk in here, it feels impossible. Like so many
Jeez.
bullets flying at you. Like I was telling you, dude, I played it on Stalker, which is the normal difficulty for the game.
Yeah.
I have super badass armor. I had an insane amount of ammunition. An insane. Like one gun had 530 shots. Like obviously that's multiple different clips,
Yeah.
but you see what I'm saying? Like 530 shots. My shotgun had 400. And then I had two other guns. Stupid guns. I told you one of my guns that was just so dumb. It was so dumb. Like it was like unless this person's wearing like unless they're wearing Juggernaut like armor, which some people damn near are. Like some of the strongest guns, it's like it don't matter. It's gonna take a couple. You have to double tap that mother. But or triple or quadruple. You know what I'm saying? Like especially when it comes to like the mutant things, right? The big ones, it's like fucking you might spend all your goddamn ammo. But as for like the human people that you're shooting, bro, like those motherfuckers, like it makes sense that the alien or like creepy looking creature things, right? It makes sense that those can hurt you pretty bad, but they have to like hit you physically, right?
Yeah.
It feels like everybody that can actually hold a gun is a fucking marksman. Like I'm telling you, like that situation where I told you I had 500 and 400 in shotgun and whatnot, like I felt like fucking Rambo. Like I felt like I was about to like who wants any of this? And I walked
Yeah.
into a room full of dudes. Like, who wants this? And one dude stood up and said, I do, and shot me dead in the face. And
uh,
I put my controller down for a moment and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna beat this part. like that happened the first moment I went down there. I got because after so many hours, you can tell right at the beginning of a fight how it's gonna go.
yeah.
You can tell right at the beginning of the fight. This is either gonna be smooth, this is gonna be kind of tough, this is gonna be a bitch. The last one of the last fights I had was way worse than a bitch. Like it was terrible because it happened to me for like over an hour of me just walking in there, and I no longer felt like He-Man after like the third attempt. Right, I felt like a complete skittish cat. like I was skittish as a bitch. I was just like, you know how you can lean to the side a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking like a child, like this corner right here, this motherfucker right here. Put a bullet in my brain, and they did. like multiple times, dude. They did. Like they said, I see your ass. And the gun that I'm saying that I loved is what was clipping me.
Oh, yeah.
And
Damn.
if I take a shot to the chest, it took 3/4 of my life. But like I said, these motherfuckers at the stage in the game where I was, they were marksmen in riot gear. And they were up in that pole and dropping my ass for an hour repeatedly. And those load screens are not short, they're long. So you
Oh,
got a
yeah.
long time you got to just sit there and just stew in it. You
Oh,
know,
my
it's
God.
like PlayStation 2 sitting.
Just relaxing.
Just sitting there mad, man. Like I was hot. But then I kind of but like I said, I had to calm down. It took me about a half hour to realize I needed to calm down because I was going in there, like I said, the first couple times, just ready to go. Then I was skittish like a cat, and then I was like, all right, what's the situation going? Let me just kick in this door. I'm gonna make it look like I'm going out, and then I'm gonna pull back. That's been my strategy the whole motherfucking game. I got He-Man-ish when I got all that gear and all that ammo. And they do that. I think it's a mind game that they do that to you on purpose.
Make you feel good.
They make you feel like you are just bro, they make you feel bro, they made you feel like you got everything you wanted. They did not tell you that you were pulling up on Omaha Beach. They didn't tell you that part. And there ain't nobody coming out of this bitch alive. They did not tell me that part. But yeah, I got through it eventually, and it was amazing. I know I'm taking a long time to describe this,
No,
but
you're
like,
good.
but bro, like that was a hell of an experience. And if there was a Stalker 3, I'd be there for it. I'd be there. I got more I can just keep going on, but I kind of want to hear what's been going on with you. And I'm sure I'll talk about it for the rest of the week. So I'm just gonna
Oh,
stop.
yeah. No, that's all good to hear because I still haven't really played as highly anticipated as that game was for me. I just haven't played it because of the kind of the state that it's been in. But they're doing updates. It's supposedly getting better. It's supposedly a lot better than it was at
It is.
launch. So that's good to
It
hear.
is.
So
It's
yeah,
a
I mean,
lot better, but it was really terrible. So a lot better is only like a third of the way, maybe half, maybe
yeah,
a little over half. I'd say actually, it's in between a third and over half.
yeah. So like for me, I'm probably like Indiana Jones is coming up. Right now, I mean, to talk about what I've been playing, Dragon Age Origins. Like, I beat Veilguard. I went back. I did all the whole Mass Effect trilogy. And then I was like, well, I never played Dragon Age Origins, really. I mean, I played it, but very briefly. And I never played Dragon Age 2. And I didn't give Inquisition a real heavy shot. So I was like, okay, I'll play the Dragon Age games. So I started playing Dragon Age Origins. Took me like 50 something hours, like low 50s
Oh
hours
yeah.
to get to the end of that game. At which point I realized I literally can't do this because I don't have what I need to do it. I was missing companions. I didn't have any health potions. I couldn't craft any because I didn't have the proper skills to craft because I wasn't paying attention to that shit. So I made a business decision and restarted the game. Full fresh
Oh
state,
shit.
full fresh save, and what took me about 50 plus hours, I'm I'm not at that point yet, but I'm pretty damn close, and I'm on a save that has about 15 hours on it.
God
So
damn, you're cooking.
I cut that into fractions of playtime. But then again, I'm speeding through it. I already know what things I do need to focus on and what I don't need to focus on, and the stuff I don't need to focus on, I'm skipping all that shit. So I'm locked in trying to beat Dragon Age Origins. Uh, I might be able to start Dragon Age 2 before Indiana Jones comes out. But what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll probably finish Origins. I might, like I said, I might start Dragon Age 2. Then Indy comes out. I'll probably go through Indy at a normal pace, and then by that time, I feel like Stalker 2 should be in a much, like, it's in a better position than it was at launch, but it should be in a much better position at that point. And that, because there's nothing really that comes out after Indy that I'm excited for until Avowed, Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Avowed.
I think, yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Avowed are like the two games I'm excited for. So in between Indy and those two games, I'm looking to do Stalker 2 and then hop back into my save on Metaphor and try to wrap up Metaphor. I know I got a lot of stuff to do on that because I was only like 25 hours in, and that's like a big fucking 100-hour game. So I got a lot to do on that.
It is.
So I'm hoping after Indy I can get those things done, and then I'll be caught up. And then if I do have spare time left over, then I'll hop back into Dragon Age 2 and maybe even Inquisition. We'll see how it goes. But long story short, a lot of Dragon Age is what I've been playing. You can see here on the screen I've got some Dead Space gameplay. I realized I didn't capture any Dragon Age because I was just mainlining it, and I just guess not even thinking, I just didn't record any gameplay. So I kind of scrambled and put together this gameplay. I got about a half hour of gameplay, and then I'll probably switch to Dead Space 2 gameplay. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I know we can actually get into some topics now, but there's something I wanted to talk about that we were talking about before the show, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. And I've been like,
is it this?
What's that?
Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
It's no, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. We could do it. We could do an album review for GNX, but we're not gonna do that. So we were talking about it before the show, and I was honestly thinking about making a video about it, but every time I sat down to like record something, I just kind of went off on a tangent, and I thought, okay, this will probably be better suited for like a podcast. So that's what this is, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So we were talking before the show about the topic came up of like South of Midnight and DEI and this whole tired conversation, because that's a conversation everyone's having at this point, for some reason. But that came up, and obviously it kind of tied into the whole Avowed thing with recently the developer for Avowed coming out and kind of having a tantrum online, getting baited into having a tantrum online. So there's all of that happening, and I gotta be like, I don't know if you even want to talk about it. I just know I had some things I wanted to say. I'm at a point personally where like I'm just ready to tell people. This sounds harsh. I'm just ready to tell people to shut the fuck up and get over it. I'm fully ready to do that. Because it's like, I said it on your show kind of briefly last Thursday. Because there was no bullshitting last week. But last Thursday you had me on the show. And I think the Avowed topic was fresh last Thursday. And we talked about it on the show. And I didn't even know about it at that time. So I learned about it on your show. We talked about it a little bit. And I said that at a certain point, there's got to be a realization or an understanding that this is reality. Like I know the whole thing sprouted from Avowed and Grum saying he doesn't want, like, the game has pronouns, don't buy it. And then you had Elon Musk talking about like, I don't want pronouns in my fantasy game or whatever shit he said. And then you had the developer from Obsidian, the art director, I think, from Obsidian, fucking flipped out on both of them on Twitter. So it's like I'm at a point where it's like, first of all, we shouldn't even be in a situation where Vort says thank you thank you, Vort. He says funny title. I don't know if you saw what I did with the title, Ham, but it's called the PS5 Pro.
No, let me read it. Let me read it.
Go for it.
The PS. Oh man, you disrespect the PS PROblem.
Yeah,
Oh my
buddy.
goodness, that's such a Leslie Nope ass thing
I
to
know.
say.
I was thinking about Leslie Knope when I fucking love that you thought of that. That's great. Holy shit.
It is.
It's so great. What's up, Blind? Appreciate you for stopping by. But
Such a Leslie Nope thing to say, which is not a bad thing. It's
no,
just
I loved it.
Wow, it's just so fucking out of the world cheesy. Like that's what Leslie Nope is. She's beautifully cheesy.
I'm glad you fucking caught that. I was literally thinking that when I was typing that out. But so I was saying about the whole Avowed thing. Like when we talked about it on your show, I said something to the effect of like it's kind of dumb that we're even in a position where first of all, like the fact that a developer on Obsidian, like the fact that that interaction even exists is fucking stupid to me. Like I'm all for like, and you kind of talked about it today on your show. I was listening in when you were talking about this stuff. Is like, it's far too easy for me or you or anybody in this community to have an opinion, whether that's a good opinion, a negative opinion, whatever the case may be. It's far too easy for us to have an opinion and just directly communicate it to the people who make things that we love. It's gotten like, it's cool that that's possible. Like it's really cool that's possible. But it's also like we're at a point where it's kind of far too easy. And because of that, shit like this happens. Where it's just like you get somebody, Grums, however you feel about him, he does his thing, he gets his engagement, and it blows up, and then Elon gets it, and then, you know, now the art director at Obsidian's like, well, what the fuck is this shit? And I gotta reply to it now. It's dumb to me that whole situation happens. Second of all, on the topic of pronouns in video games, dude, if we're gonna do this every time a game releases, then we really got to be prepared to do it fucking every time a game releases. Starfield, same shit happened. Pronouns. You had a video of some guy having a full-on meltdown because there was pronouns in Starfield. Had a fucking meltdown. A grown man had a meltdown. Then you had the whole thing with Dragon Age and how everybody acted about Dragon Age. And then now we're talking about Avowed. I tell you what's going to happen. Same shit's going to happen in Fable. I guarantee the same shit's going to happen with Fable. We're also going to have this... What's up?
I just want to interrupt real quick. I hope that Avowed, whether it's in the game or not, because I don't care. I'm gonna play it regardless.
Yeah.
I just hope Avowed does it better than whatever the fuck they were trying to do in Dragon Age, because that shit was lit.
Yeah, I was because I was listening to you talk about that, and I would probably honestly agree for the most part with you. Like I don't like, and
it's no disrespect. It's just it felt like it just did.
Yeah, like it felt. I feel like the cool thing to do with Tosh, because that the fucking character is like such a, for the most part, such a badass. But then to make her like, I don't know, like kind of whiny and I mean that sounds kind of insensitive, whatever the fuck. To make her kind of whiny about the whole situation, and like, it would have been much cooler to make her stronger about that whole situation, considering how strong she is, just in every other aspect. It would have been a lot cooler to have that, as opposed to like, I'm this big badass, but in this one specific scenario, I'm kind of being a baby. And it's like, I get what they were going for. I get they wanted it to be like a touching thing and everything, and this cool thing about bringing their family to. I get that they wanted to go for that, but I feel like there were definitely better ways of doing that. And it didn't, for me, like, and I fucking, when I played the game, that was my romance choice. So, like, even as someone who picked that as a romance choice, it was like, even I was like, okay, well, this is kind of, we're gonna try to force your mom to like you or something. It's like, I don't know what you want me to do. But yeah, like, I just feel, what I was saying is, like, I feel like at a certain point, we got to accept, because this is also going to happen with Elder Scrolls 6. If you think for a second there's not going to be pronouns in Elder Scrolls 6, you're fucking lying to yourself. So that's also going to happen. If ever there's a Starfield 2, it's going to happen. Fallout, it's probably going to happen. It's just like, that's like, we're in a time where pronouns, being trans, whatever you want to call it, gay, like, it's not a taboo thing anymore. Like it was. I mean, it still kind of is for a lot of people, but it, like, the way it was,
it still is. But
yeah,
it's just like, just because something is taboo doesn't mean it's doesn't mean it's not known.
Exactly. It's not like it's not a real thing. Like, it's a thing that is real.
It's not a myth. It's
exactly.
I think people are getting the myth mixed up with taboo.
Exactly. Like that. I'm glad you said it like that, because it feels like people. It feels like people, dude. Perfect that we're talking about Avowed with all this, because it feels like people are under the assumption that Obsidian is just making this up. Like, why are you forcing pronouns? This is no disrespect to Obsidian. I love Obsidian. I love the games they make. Have you seen the people who work at the studio? No disrespect. It's a very diverse group of people. Assuming you've got straight white dudes, you got straight people, gay people, trans people, bi people, like, you got people of all sorts of different colors working there. Like, it's a diverse group of people. Why the fuck would you not expect that in your game? That they're making, by the way. It's not you making this. It's them. It's dumb to me that we're still in this point where we're surprised by it. Like, every time a game comes out that has pronouns in it, or trans people, or I mean, even forget that stuff. Just black people, just Hispanic, Asian, anything. As soon as a certain subset of people see it, it's just this big talking point where it's like, people are having breakdowns about it. Like, dude, it's real life. Like, real life is kind of diverse. There's a lot of different opinions. There's a lot of different people. It's kind of diverse. You're going to have to get over it at a certain point. That's all I didn't even really have a structure of what I wanted to say here, but that is what I wanted to say. Because I was thinking about making a video about this, and every time I did it, it just ended up being a really long rant. And I kind of pulled it back a little bit for the podcast sake, but, like, that's what I wanted to say. Because, like, at a certain point, is people just got to get over it. Either get over it or just don't play the game. But, like, this whole performative thing, every time a game comes out, that we need to have a breakdown about it, it's getting really fucking old for me at this point. So, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that before we head into other topics, but that's what I wanted to say on this.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say other than, as much as one side feels like it's like posturing, the other side is posturing just as much.
Yeah, it's just no in between.
They tell each other to quit posturing, and it's like, dude, one of you guys has to stop. Like,
yes,
it's what it kind of feels like, because I feel like neither side, whether it's the folks that feel offended by, the woke stuff, or the people that feel offended that people are offended by things that are, coming of age, right? I should say,
Mhm.
um, is kind of ridiculous and honestly a waste of time.
Yeah.
But it just kind of like all you could do is just hope that time will tell. But to me, this is, and me and Loke really, like, we ended
Yeah.
everything with this thought, is
Hmm.
that it's just, in my opinion, it, especially in the video game sector, because I don't know how to fix this whole thing in the real world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But in the video game sector, all it's about is good writing.
Yes, that's 100% true.
All it's about is good writing.
Hmm.
Nobody cared about Mass Effect. That's
Yeah.
almost like swept under the rug. Nobody cared about the early old fables. Nobody cared about Cyberpunk at the beginning of this generation. And my God, that's probably the most woke game of all time to this day.
Yeah.
It is like just running around the city, getting SA'd. You
Oh
know,
my God.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like just all sorts of just, I didn't want to say it on your channel. I said it
No,
on
I
my
get
channel.
it. I get it. I
But
get
like,
it.
yeah, but like, just things happening in that game that, like, you would expect people to care about, but they don't, because it was implemented in such a way
Hmm.
that nobody really cared. And the people that did care were such a minority that it didn't matter. And I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh well, that was back in that time, and today we have all this internet and everyone's around. Even though Twitter was around back in Mass Effect days, but
Yeah.
but uh, but what I'm kind of getting at is, no, it still doesn't matter if it's good writing, because Metaphor had it, and like I said earlier, this generation, Cyberpunk had it. Like,
Yes.
and it's not that it's always the same exact thing. It's just that it's evident within that world, and it's non-invasive and almost easy to understand because it's behind a cause that matters. It's not a separate issue.
Yeah.
It's just a thing within the game. So like even when that whole essay thing that happened, even when that happened in Cyberpunk, I was mad uncomfortable when that happened. Right? I literally felt a little violated.
Yeah.
Right? I felt a little violated, but at the same time, the way they did that, I was like, I shouldn't have did that. like you know what I mean? Like I was kind of like, I made a whoopsie.
Yeah. I've
And,
did it. Yeah.
and the whoopsie made it almost comical.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because
So
I don't.
like I was able just to, like, I didn't like it. I was embarrassed to talk about it, but it was obviously not in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was written so well that it's just like, wow, I did not see that coming. That was awful, but but that was kind of funny, because that shouldn't have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. I get that. Dude, I had the fucking same experience on Cyberpunk. I went to go talk to, what's her name? The old Japanese lady. I think her name's like Wakako or something. Wakado, I think. And I had to talk to her, but the thing on my map was like pointing in that direction. Like there was a pin in that direction. So I was like, oh, I got to talk to this guy out front. And I talked to that guy out front, and that is not what I had to do, because that ended up with my character getting fucked. And, and then I had to go back to the exact same area where that pin was and then talk to Wakako. And then it hit me like, oh, that's who I had to talk to. I didn't have to have that whole thing that just happened happen to me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that shit
I'm pretty sure that was the exact same spot. So
might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I got trapped.
I got caught in a web right there, and it wasn't cool. But yeah.
And I grabbed my gun. Like, for real.
Dude, I did kind of go back there with my gun out, hoping to see that. I was gonna kill him. But he wasn't there, lucky for him. But yeah, like I totally agree. It's all about the writing, and I think that's what most people care about. Obviously, you got the grifters on both sides online who are never really happy about anything. But what most people really care about at the end of the day is the writing. If you could make the wokest game of all time, kind of like Ham just said with Cyberpunk, if you write it well, characters are good, and the gameplay is fun, then it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you're talking about, what you're presenting to the player. It really does not matter. So that's like the most important thing to remember in all this, I guess. But I wanted to get that out of the way up front so we can actually talk about the topics I did have planned, and finish off the show with all of that stuff. So let's get into let's do the Indiana Jones thing first, because specs for Indiana Jones, or the PC requirements for Indiana Jones, just dropped, and it does look like it's gonna be very demanding, to say the least. Ty says it's still bullshit.
Well, did you hear one good thing about it, though?
What's that?
I know you have some negatives, so before you drop the negative, let me give you a positive.
It's a positive.
It will not include de novo.
That's good news. That's very good news, and hopefully more games follow suit. So that's actually really good news, especially in regards to this, because a game that's demanding
that won't be
naturally,
part of the problem.
Exactly, that won't be part of the problem. That won't be adding on to a game that already seems to be demanding. That's not going to make it worse. So that's good news. I do want to mention, Ty says it's still bullshit though that quote unquote woke games have to be perfect, but generic shit games can be shit and no one cares. Well, that's the thing. It's also, just to answer that real quick, I think that's also very valid in the sense that, like, when a game is shit and nobody cares about it, people clown on it for like a month, if even that long, and then they move on. Like, remember when Gollum came out? It was a talking point for like, I don't know, a couple weeks, how bad it was and how low it scored, and then everybody just kind of moved on. Nobody really talked about it anymore. Versus this, I feel like with people online and like engagement being very relevant and encouraged on a lot of platforms, not just Twitter, but a lot of platforms, I feel like it encourages people to hang on to topics like this a lot more, because you can squeeze a lot more out of it for yourself. So I get what you're saying, and I totally agree with it, but at the same time, like, that's a symptom of not this whole conversation, but just social media in general. That's a symptom of the way the system works, unfortunately. Because when something's bad, nobody really cares, but when something's interesting, we'll call it, then everybody cares, and you got to talk about it all the time. So, and that's kind of my point, is like, at a certain point, we've got to get to a point where, like, I don't know if it's going to be, it's obviously not going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be next year or even before 2030, but at a certain point, we got to get to a point where this isn't even interesting anymore. Like, that's kind of like the ideal point we need to get to, or this isn't even a topic anymore. But until then, this is what we're going to have happen. So But back to the Indiana Jones specs. Ham, you said there's no de novo. That's very, very good news. But the Indiana Jones specs were looking pretty damn beefy because I know for the top end for ray tracing at max settings, I think it's like the first game ever to require a 4090, which was Jesus. I mean, definitely something. But let's see here. I'm going to go over these really quick. Minimum spec,
You got it
which
on the
is...
screen or no?
Ooh, actually, hold on. Glad you said that. So, where's it at? My God, can't find it. All right. There we go. Perfect. Let me bring that up. Okay, there it is. It says minimum spec. This is 1080p, 60 FPS, low settings. A Core i7 10700K. So that's actually Blind's old CPU, the 10700K. Or a Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigabytes of RAM, an RTX 2060, or an RX 6600, or an ARC A580. So that's already, for low settings at 1080p, that's already, yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. 2060 is not too bad. Then there's recommended i7 12700K, 32 gigabytes of RAM, an RTX 3080 Ti or 7700 XT. That's 1440p, 60 FPS at high settings. Ultra, this is all without ray tracing. A 13900K, and they got that wrong because they called it an i7 13900K and it's an i9, but that's besides the point. So 13900K or 7900X, 32 gigabytes of RAM, RTX 4080 or an RX 7900 XT. And that's for ultra, no ray tracing, 4K, 60 FPS. And then we move on to full ray tracing requirements. And this is 1080p, 60 FPS low with frame generation. Or FSR3 enabled. You're going to want a 10700K, so that's the same. And then the GPU is a 4070 12 gig. And then on recommended 1440p 60 FPS high settings with ray tracing.
The minimum specs for CPU
Yeah.
is that's my CPU. Jesus Christ, on the ray tracing.
Yeah. Well, you got the 3800X?
Yeah.
So you're above that. I mean, you're in the same generation, but you're above that because they're talking about the 3600.
Oh, is that a 36? I thought it was a 38.
Yeah, that's 30. That's a Ryzen 5 3600.
Oh,
so you're in
okay, never mind.
you're in the same generation, but you got a better CPU there. Then again, the recommended same CPUs.
But that means I can't do the recommended, right?
Recommended you probably struggle with. Because they're talking about 12700K and a 7700, which is like not the newest AMD, but the second newest Ryzen 7 AMD
right
chip. So there's that, and then also forget the CPU stuff because the GPU recommended for with frame generation, by the way, an FSR frame generation.
What's the target with frame generation?
1440p 60. With high settings.
Oh.
Yeah. So without frame generation, this right here will probably get you like
work.
This right here might get you 30. So that's a 4080. And then the final one, which is the big talking point, you're gonna want a 13900K or 7900X, 32 gigabytes of RAM with an RTX
7900X.
Yeah, buddy. You're gonna want to turn it up.
Damn. They said, "Are you up to date?"
I'm telling you.
They said, "Not only do you have the best, but are you up to date?"
Yes. I'm trying to figure out. I can't wait till this game comes out because I want to see that on the Series S. Because I know they confirmed 60 on Series X. I don't believe they have on Series S, and I'm assuming that they haven't because it won't be. So we'll see whenever it launches. But I'm interested to see, like, I want to boot that up on my Series S and then pick up right where I left off on my PC and just see the difference. Because if I'm not mistaken, Dragon Age Veilguard had some pretty crazy requirements as well, but it was optimized very well and it scaled very well.
Yeah, it ran like a dream.
So that could be the exact same case with
Steam
Indiana
Deck
Jones.
even ran great.
Dude, on Steam Deck, that's the best AAA, like, brand new release I've seen run on Steam Deck at launch. Like, at launch. I've not seen a AAA game run that well on Steam Deck at launch. Sure, after a couple updates, maybe. But that ran really, really good. So shout out to BioWare for that. But yeah, I feel like maybe that could be the exact same case with Indiana Jones. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But I wanted to bring those up because, dude, I know my PC. I'm in between. CPU wise, I'm better than recommended on the ray tracing. GPU wise, I'm a step below that. So I'm somewhere in between minimum and recommended for ray tracing, and then recommended and ultra for non-ray tracing. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
It sounds like we're kind of in the same spot. You're maybe a little bit more performance because you have a little bit newer, because you have the next generation of stuff than I do.
Yes. Yeah. So, like,
no, but both of ours are kind of like for the ray tracing right in between minimum and recommended, which is pretty disheartening, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying.
This game must be tough. This shit must be eating your PC.
That shit is asking for all your RAM too. Like please. Like,
dude, that's the one thing. That's the one thing I'm crushing it on is I've got 64 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh, nice. See, I only have 32. I need to get 2 more.
I went ahead and got that so I wouldn't even have to think about it. I can keep that when I upgrade again. I don't even got to think about that. So that's the one nice thing I can see on this list is I'm crushing it in that regard. And plus, on top of that, the game's just a big-ass game. We saw the file size on Xbox. I think they confirmed like 139 gigs. If I'm not mistaken.
Jeez.
I mean, right here it says 120.
Man, this Series S breathing heavy, bro. This generation has been disrespectful.
That's like a quarter of my. That's more than a quarter of my storage on my Series S. Oh my god,
that Series S is taking a fucking whipping.
Dude, if I have
this, every time a video game comes out, it has to feel like something like. I don't know, like somebody knocks on your door and just says, "Come on out, time." You go out there, and the belt just immediately starts hitting your ass, and you're just like, and you just have to sit there and take it. That's what I imagine every time the Series S comes out with the new game on it. It's just a complete ass whooping.
Dude, if you got the base Series S without an expansion drive, by this point in the generation, you're kind of fucked. Yeah,
my cousin Matt actually went out and bought an expansion drive, and he ain't even like that, right? He don't even game insanely like that, but like he was just like, man, because he bought 2 Series S, right? Mm-hmm. And he has one that he plays, and he has another one that his kids play a lot of. But sometimes the kids are playing on both of them, right? Because he has 2 kids. So sometimes they're occupying both of them. And he was like, man, there ain't no way I can have any game on either of these goddamn consoles. I had to go out and buy my own storage drive just so I can have my own games. There ain't no room. Ain't no room for dad's games.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, damn.
Think about if you've got Starfield installed Assume you got Starfield installed. You want to install Indiana
Call of
Jones.
Duty. Just Call of
Dude,
Duty.
I
Just
wasn't
the
even
newest
thinking about
one.
Call of Duty. I didn't even factor that. And I was thinking Indiana Jones, Starfield, and then Forza 5. You're full. And in fact, you might even be over full, honestly. Like that, you might not be able to do that. I'm not entirely sure what the file size for Forza is. I can't remember if it's like 150 or 100 something. I can't remember. But if it's 150,
Yeah,
then
it's
you're
like
over the limit.
150. It's like
Jesus. Yeah,
150.
you're over the limit. And if you're not, then you're really close to over the limit. You might not be able to save game clips at that point. But yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm excited for Indiana Jones, but dude, that last trailer, I don't know if you saw it, but that last trailer, I went from being like, "Oh, I'll definitely check this
Was
out,"
it
to like,
text?
"Yeah, it was the tits. It was the tits." As
That's
the kids call it, as
it.
many as many famous rappers would call it. I don't think anyone would, but yeah, dude, that last trailer. If you haven't seen that, you gotta check that out for sure. In fact, hold on a second. I'm gonna take this down, and I'm gonna just let that last trailer play. If I bring it up on YouTube while we're talking, but yeah, Indiana Jones looks like it's gonna be sick. Also, they're doing. I didn't even realize this, but they're doing an early access for that. I didn't even know. Did you know that?
Of course they are. Jesus. How
I
much is this one?
like $35.
Jesus.
They're doing an early
They're
access for
just
that.
they're just shameless.
They're doing early access for Avowed, which Avowed's funny because it was set to come out on what, February 13th, and then
It's
they're
set to
like,
come out the day that they decided to, give it early access instead.
they're like,
Diabolical.
we're moving the date to February 18th, but there's still
Just
5 days
straight
early
up hate.
access. You can still play it on. You can still play it on the 13th if you get the early access, which is much as I make fun of that, I'm doing it because I'm not gonna not play that game early. I don't think I'm gonna do it for indie because I mean, like I'm heavy into Dragon Age right now, but for Avowed, I'm definitely doing that shit, 100%. Indiana Jones launch trailer. Oh man, but yeah, dude. Uh, did you say you have seen that trailer? By the way, Ham?
I have not.
Gotcha. Well, I'll have it here playing while we're talking. Uh, but yeah, actually, you know what? Let me bring this up on my end. And then I wanted to talk about the PS5 Pro because the PS5 Pro,
Been
I
crushing it
know,
lately.
I know, we've been keeping up with it in our party chat, and it is
Been
not,
crushing it.
it has not been having a good time. Uh,
I don't know, man. I don't know what you're talking about. This thing was having a great time. Its release party was top tier.
What's great is I typed in PS5 Pro and Dragon's Dogma because I know that was one of the games that was having an issue. And I see one article that was like uh, PS PS5 Pro's most impressive game is Dragon's Dogma, despite despite issues with PSSR. And it's like, well, that's not good. That shouldn't be a headline. And then you also got if you own a PS5 Pro, Dragon's Dogma 2 is a game to get during the Black Friday sale, but that's an old article. But I just thought that was funny considering the fact that when Dragon's Dogma 2 was being talked about by Digital Foundry on the PS5 Pro, and everybody was talking about like huge performance increases. It went from like 45 FPS to like 52 FPS on the Pro. And
Oh my goodness.
I'm just like, is that worth it? Is it worth it?
42%, bruh.
That's not that big of a jump for me. At least that's not $700 worth of a jump for me. I just
Well, it's
gotta
not
be real.
$700. It's just $200 more dollars if you think about it.
That's right. That's how it works. It's only $200 more. If
I mean,
you
unless
know,
you want, and I mean, unless you didn't need the disk drive, then it's 300 extra more dollars.
well, you know what I could do honestly is I could sell my PS5 at retail price to a loved one, and then upgrade to to a PS5 Pro. Oh my god!
I still don't believe that. I doubt. I just don't believe that happened.
I mean, he
I'm
said
not.
it.
I'm not sold.
Yeah, I hope it didn't happen, but he's the one who
Yeah,
said
but
it.
he's like he reminds me of just like the WWE. Like he just says stuff
WWE.
sometimes. Like he does. I don't know. I just feel like he embodies what it is to just like say or do some clown shit
Hmm.
just so somebody would see it.
Oh
Just so
yeah,
somebody would see it and be like, "Yo, what is he doing?"
that's
So
crazy.
then he's talked about for the next like few days. Or he's on
Yeah,
everybody's mind. Like it's like the worst form of marketing.
I mean, I hope you're right. I mean, just for the sake of it, I hope you're right. Just because, dude, if you sell your if you're fleecing loved ones, if you're fleecing your girlfriend for your
Then you're doing it
PS5,
right.
then you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit if you're doing that.
I
Ty
don't
says
know, man.
Kingdom Come Deliverance, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Monster Hunter. Not a great month to release Avowed, really. I think it's a great month to release Avowed,
What?
simply for the fact that it's going into Game Pass. None of those other games are going into Game Pass. So,
Why does Xbox have to move all scared and shit, Ty? Like what do they got to be scared of? If Ghost of
I'll,
Yote was coming out, then would you be like, "Oh man, bad time for Yote"? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I think. I mean, to be real, I don't think.
Like you got to be confident.
Yeah, it does. And I also Xbox is kind of in a position where at a certain point, you got to say fuck it. You just got to say fuck it and put what you got out there. Because, dude, how many studios does Xbox have now? Like fucking 30 plus? Like a stupid amount of studios they've got. So it's like you're going to have. I mean, you got 30 studios. You figure a lot of those studios are going to be releasing games that conflict with other game schedules, that conflict even with your own game schedules. You just got to get that shit out there. You can't, because if they're going to be focused on that, then you're just going to think yourself into not releasing anything ever. So I get what you're saying, Ty, but at the same time, it's like Avowed has a really good thing going for it, being in Game Pass. Also being Obsidian. Obsidian, I mean, I know there's the whole controversy we talked about earlier, but like for the most part, Obsidian's built up a really, really high level of respect within the gaming community. People will absolutely play Avowed because it's made by Obsidian. He says, guys, it's not about confidence. There's a business side to this. You need to give Obsidian and Avowed the best chance to get the most mind share. Remember what happened to Horizon. What happened to Horizon? Horizon was wildly successful.
What? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Horizon was like incredibly successful. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's their most successful game this generation, besides maybe Starfield. Like they were really proud of Horizon because like every other day you were getting online and they were saying 5 million
You're still
players.
proud of Horizon.
Yeah, it's like 10 million players, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million. Like they were they were counting players. They were very proud of it. Phil Spencer and everyone was very proud of that. So I mean, if we're talking like sales, okay, but at the same time, I don't think uh I know it's probably controversial to say. I don't think Xbox is too concerned with sales. I mean, speaking specifically of Obsidian, Obsidian's last game was Pentiment. How well did Pentiment sell? Horizon launch.
I
Oh,
think Xbox
you're
is
talking
more or
about
less.
you're he's talking about Horizon Zero Dawn, or are you talking? Wait, okay. He says Horizon launched beside Breath of the Wild, Forbidden West launched beside Elden Ring. If you ask Sony, they would have moved away from.
Horizon Forbidden, or no, he's talking about Horizon Zero
Yes.
Dawn.
Yes.
Oh
Okay,
no,
so
yeah, man. See, that's why I hate the Horizon name, and I hate how I get those two confused so
yeah,
much.
that's on me, Ty. I thought you were talking
Fucking
about
hate
Horizon
that.
5. But in the case of Horizon, I'll tell you, just being funny real quick, whenever I see a new Horizon game is coming out, I get excited for whatever the other big game coming out is. I've learned that. I've learned that already. Breath of the Wild and then Elden Ring. I mean, let's make it 3 for 3. I don't know what game comes out next when they make a new Horizon, but let's make it 3 for 3. But yeah, I would agree with you in that case. I mean, especially in the case of Sony, like Sony's not putting Horizon into a subscription service. At least not day one. Not yet, at least. So like, there's no incentive for people who are even on the fence about playing it to be like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And maybe I like it, maybe I don't, but there's no incentive for someone to even check it out. Versus Avowed, yeah, you've got Assassin's Creed Shadows, you've got Kingdom Come Deliverance, you've got Monster Hunter, you also got the Yakuza game coming out that month. I want to say there's something else too besides Avowed. I can't remember exactly though. But a lot of games come out that month. But the incentive to try Avowed is if you're already subscribed to Game Pass, it doesn't cost you anything. Maybe you're trying to save money. Maybe you're trying to save money for one of those games coming out that month. And you're like, well, instead of buying, a bunch of these games, how about I buy one of them and then I play this one? And that one is Avowed because it's in your subscription service. So I think that factors into it a lot, quite frankly. Whereas with Horizon, Forbidden West, and Zero Dawn, that was not a factor. They just kind of picked a really shitty time to release those. Or I don't even know if they really picked a shitty time. I feel like they just kind of got unlucky. They got pretty unlucky. Or a mix of both, either way. But yeah, I see what you're saying with that. But I'm not too worried about Avowed. I think it'll do fine come February. But yeah, getting back to the whole PS... Oh my god, did you see... I'm going to bring this up on here. So I had this up and I completely forgot about it. And we're about to talk about the PS5 Pro. It says this Rockstar leaker is telling... Grain of salt. This Rockstar leaker is telling gamers not to get a PS5 Pro for GTA 6. And here's why.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, what happened?
No way!
What happened?
No, I'm listening to what you're saying. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
No way. That
Man,
has to be just a rumor or just bullshit.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just
Grain of
don't
salt.
believe it.
Grain of salt, because this is a Rockstar leaker, and there's tons of Rockstar leakers. Some are very reputable, some are not. So, grain of salt.
And based off of what I've seen, I wouldn't, to be honest.
Oh, wait, Ben. Is this Videotech Ben? Yeah, no, yeah, this is Videotech, so yeah, reputable. Reputable.
Oh no.
He says right here,
Speaking
from my experience with the PS5 Pro, and this is just in general on the PS5 Pro, he says, I don't recommend it. A handful of AAA supported titles look worse due to PSSR, and nearly a month after launch, these games have not been fixed. Silent Hill 2, Outlaws, Jedi Survivor, Outlaws? Oh yeah, Star Wars Outlaws, Jedi Survivor, Avatar, etc. Wait until 2025 to buy this thing. And then he follows that up with, if you're a GTA fan, hold off until Rockstar announces details on PS5 Pro enhancements. It's mandatory for Rockstar to support the PS5 Pro for GTA 6. Since it's part of the new certification policy, it could be simple resolution enhancements or better ray tracing, so wait. So he's not saying it's not gonna be what everybody wants it to be, but he's saying there's a possibility of that, and he would hold off until you hear otherwise. Because, and I'd be inclined to agree with him, because I've said it multiple times, I don't think that game is going to run at 60 on console. And if it does, that's not going to be a PS5 exclusive or PS5 Pro exclusive thing. Unless Sony's like a real piece of shit and money hats a 60 FPS mode. for a third-party game. In which case, if that's the case, then Sony's fucking diabolical. Sony's lost their fucking minds if they're doing that. But I just feel like, dude, if that's 60 FPS on the Pro with the same CPU that's in a Series S, just clocked a little bit higher, then it can be 60 FPS on a Series S. It can be it certainly can be 60 FPS on the Series X, without question. I just don't think it's going to be. I think that game's going to be quite demanding, and I think it'll be 30. And PS5 Pro will probably get some cool ray tracing feature or whatever. And then you also have Avatar. I don't know if you saw the Digital Foundry video with Avatar, but Avatar is also looking like very, very rough. On in fact, right here it says related. PS5 Pro video reveals shocking downgrade compared to Series X. That's not good. My God, I didn't even see that.
Say that again.
It says related and in regards to Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. It says PS5 Pro video reveals shocking downgrade compared to Xbox Series X. So that's not great.
PS5 Pro?
Yeah.
To the Series X?
Yeah.
That's just diabolical out in these streets right now, man. It ain't safe.
It's not looking great. And then obviously
it is not safe.
Then I know there's also issues with Alan Wake 2. There's issues with Silent Hill 2. We mentioned that for a second. But I wanted to bring this up specifically to talk about, like, or at least give my thoughts and then ask you your thoughts and everything, like, why this is happening. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a developer and I understand everything and I know exactly why this is happening. But just an educated guess, or maybe even an uneducated guess, as to why this is happening, and we talked about it in the party the other night, is they built an entire AI upscaler and then told developers, hey, you know FSR, forget it. You're done using that. Now you're using this in the middle of the generation for a console that's, I mean, how much do you think the PS5 Pro was sold, if we're being generous? Like, is it insane to say it sold 1 million? 2 million? Is it lower? Is it high? Like, it's not a lot of consoles. So, like, you're telling developers you got to focus specifically on this one thing on our one console in the middle of the generation.
You know, I didn't even think about the not that many consoles.
Yeah, it's like, how many did they sell? Like, I don't think they've talked about it. It's probably
not saying that everything shouldn't be. Oh my God.
What happened?
That's funny. I'm getting a phone call right.
Oh, we lost Ham.
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
I got a phone call right now. I'm pretty sure from, oh my goodness. I think it was that Diddy hotline.
Are you serious?
Yeah, remember I called it a long time ago as a prank?
Yeah.
I think I just got a call back from that.
Oh my God. Jesus. They're checking up on you, checking your well-being.
Hold on. Yeah. They just sent me a text message. Hold on. Wow, it is. It says okay. So at 8:27, so just now, like 8:27 Midwest or Central Time. It says I think it's supposed to say hello there, but it says it just says there. This is to follow up on your inquiry about the Sean Combs abuse lawsuit. Jesus. We understand this is a difficult matter. We're determined how we can best assist you. We need to gather some initial information. Please call the number at your convenience for confidential consultation. or we can schedule a time to speak with you by text. Yes, that is fucking funny.
Wow.
I called it
Like,
as a joke, and
that was months ago.
that was months ago. That was months ago. But
Jesus.
here it is.
They're
Here
really
it
on top
is.
of it.
They want my service.
They want your story. They want the inside scoop on P. Diddy. That's hilarious that they messaged you. They called you randomly at 8:30 p.m.
Yeah.
like a couple months later, just to see.
Yeah, how
Hey,
about that?
were you still abused by P. Diddy? Just checking in, seeing if you were still abused by P. Diddy. Uh, that's fucking great though.
Yeah, they're checking in.
Making sure you're safe. Someone's gotta do it. It's gonna be them.
That's fun. That's funny.
That's fantastic though. But yeah, man. I like I
I don't
was
even
I
know what we
was
were talking about. That blindsided me.
all the PS5 Pro. I was
I
saying
thought
that
you were gonna say P Diddy again. We said
no,
PS.
no. I ain't saying Diddy. It's not happening, uh but the PS5 Pro, yeah, I was saying like I think it's because of the fact that like developers probably aren't prioritizing it because it's not the main console. Like PlayStation, you could argue is the main platform, but the PS5 Pro is not the main console. So it's like I just don't think developers really care that much as to learn a whole new upscaling technique versus like with the Xbox One X. Like you saw a lot of people, and even the PS4 Pro, a lot of people really wanted their games to shine on that thing, probably because it was much easier, because it was literally just brute force with more powerful hardware
Hard as fuck.
versus exactly, dude, the Xbox One X was hard as fuck. That shit was nuts.
Shit
And
was hard.
I said this like multiple times. I remember playing PUBG when that came out on the base Xbox One. That shit ran like garbage. Was horrible. And I got an Xbox
Yeah,
One
that's pretty
X.
shit.
I got an Xbox One X and it looked terrible too. And then on the One X, it looked probably in retrospect it probably still looked really terrible if I were to look at it today. But I remember going from the base Xbox One to the One X on PUBG and I was like, dude, this is like I feel like a pro player now. I feel like a legit pro player, even though I'm still playing at 30 FPS, but it's 4K and it's higher detail, and it just blew my mind. I'll tell you what didn't blow my mind though is seeing Alan Wake 2 gameplay on the PS5 Pro. That didn't blow my mind. But you know,
I
hey,
keep hating on that. You know it's the go.
yeah, it's the goat. It's the goat of something. Definitely not anything that matters though. Unfortunately. Oh my goodness. There we go. I was wondering what happened to my gameplay there. But yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say
Don't be
about the
a hoe,
PS5 Pro
get a pro.
before we move on to XDefiant and that
I
whole
just said
fun
it.
thing?
I said, don't be a hoe, get yourself a pro.
Don't listen to him. You can be a hoe all you want.
Wow. Oh,
You can be a hoe all you want. Don't even listen to this guy. But
Lord
moving
Almighty.
but moving on to XDefiant. In case you haven't heard at this point, which I'm sure most people have, XDefiant is dying. It's dying and it will soon be dead. And this is actually on the back
Jesus,
of
that was depressing.
yeah, it's actually on the back of I didn't even know this, but apparently Ubisoft says Ubisoft to shut down XDefiant. Nearly 300 employees laid off as San Francisco and Osaka game studios close. So this is on the back of some layoffs. I'm sure a lot of those layoffs, if not all of them, probably pertain specifically to XDefiant. So XDefiant,
Arasaka.
XDefiant's closing down. I think the official date for that is June 3rd, 2025. So they have like, I think they're releasing a whole nother season for the game, and then they're calling it quits, which to me is kind of insane because it's like, if
Yeah, it seems like you're spending money to not. I don't
exactly.
know. I don't know. I guess, let me put it this way. Like, if they already rented the server space, right? Like, if that's already paid for, they already put the work into the season. I think this is like one of those like liquidation, get as much as you can
Mm-hmm.
on the way out, and hopefully people will celebrate it and play it a bunch. I don't know what they would buy.
Yeah, I don't know. A battle pass? You getting a battle pass for this?
I mean, for what?
It's a good question.
It's like an exit pass. That's what it more or less is.
You get a battle pass for the next couple months, and then you have your fun.
Well,
You
it's
get,
weird too. It's like 6 months too. It's like 6 or 8 months.
yeah, it's strange the fact that like I said, I guess it's because of the new season, but it's just strange that they're announcing, hey, the game's dead, and we're gonna kill it in 6 months. And I'm watching, dude. I'm watching a trailer right now where they're talking about new maps. It's like, bro, the game's dead. The fucking game's dead. Like, what are we doing?
There's
Like,
new maps. That's fucking awesome.
yeah, they're bringing 3 new maps to XDefiant. It's like, I
That is something.
I'm just kind of baffled by it, honestly, because like I know you have your feelings on the game, and you could definitely talk about that. But for me, like what I played in
Yeah,
the
I don't like
beta,
the game.
that's fair. What I played in the beta, I really liked. I had a really fun time in the XDefiant beta. When the game came out, I don't know what they did from the beta to the main game, but the balancing issues in that game, like guns didn't feel like they were as strong as they were in the beta. It felt like I was getting like lasered by SMGs across the map. It felt like my hits weren't registering when I was shooting people, which was
That was
infuriating.
the beta.
I'm fucking alpha, dude. Fucking alpha, brother. No,
Mm.
Jesus, that's so cringe. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was just not a fun time when the game released, and it sucks because the beta was so much more fun. So I was expecting,
That's
okay, obvious.
debatable.
I thought it was. For me, it was. Well, I'll tell you this. For me, it
I'm just
definitely
saying
was.
it because of the word beta. I said beta. Bull.
Debatable. What are you talking about, Ham? Stop it.
I don't know.
Quit being a fucking quit being a beta. Being a beta cuck. My God.
I'm being a real man. And it's fucking frustrating for you. I get it.
Yeah, it's infuriating me. Man. I'm having a bad time. Uh,
Calm
but
down.
yeah, X Defiant's dead. I don't know what else to really add to that other than the fact just relaying the information to anybody who's even still playing that it will
Nobody.
be dying. Yeah, not a lot of people apparently. Not a whole lot of people are still playing that. But Ham, are you devastated by the news that X Defiant will be shutting down June 3rd, 2025?
I can't wait.
You can't wait to be devastated? That's sick. That's terrible. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it is, I guess. So. Nah,
That's
man,
actually so
like I'm
sad.
ready. I'm ready for that game to go bye bye. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I remember playing that game with you. Oh my god, playing that game with you, you didn't like it, but dude, I don't remember if we played that game with Mike, but I know I did. But dude, if you played that game with Mike, Mike fucking hated it. Mike could not stand it. He was like as soon as I suggested we play XDefiant, he'd be like, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go to bed. He's like, I don't even want to play games anymore because you
Good,
said
good for him.
that.
Stand on business.
But yeah, dude, I
Anyways,
imagine that's
that
probably
shit
how a lot of people
stunk.
felt. That's probably how a lot of
That
people
game,
felt,
that
honestly.
game was such a just a boring ass game to me. Like I just didn't like it. Like I felt like the shooting in it was good.
Yeah.
I felt like some of the levels were kind of interesting, but like when they first came out with the game, there was no like just death match.
That was
It was a
annoying.
bunch of like silly ass play styles, and I already wasn't a big fan of it. And I didn't like that like you couldn't really get cover. I felt like it was like a very coverless game.
Yeah.
And
Everybody was out
and
in the
I
open.
yeah, and I don't know, like and then on top of being out in the open, there were like these crazy meta guns that were just like that would just blast the hell out of you. So like to me, I don't know, like I got over that game really fast
Yeah, I get that.
because of that. And I don't know, I just to me it just felt like it was trying to be something that really couldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's the best way I could put it.
Well, I mean,
Game
like,
sucked. I didn't like it.
yeah, I mean, well, that's what the marketing felt like. Because we talked about the marketing for that game was like non-existent outside of like a bunch of Twitch streamers getting paid to say it was like the next COD killer. Like that was the whole marketing. There was no like, we're gonna sit down and show you gameplay. We're gonna give you hands-on until the beta at least, or any of that. It was just like, here's some money. Twitch streamers tell them it's gonna kill COD, and it's like that was the whole marketing, and it was just like obviously that set really bizarre expectations for that game. And then when people played the full release, they're just like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's gonna be a COD killer." And then I'm sure a bunch of people just hopped right back off of that back onto Call of Duty because of all the issues that it had at launch. So I don't know.
You know,
Ubisoft's what's up?
there's there's one other thing I wanted to add to it. I felt like the game lacked purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like Call of Duty, it's more than like this game was like, I'm gonna be the next Call of Duty killer. Like, bro, you came out with a third of a game of what Call of Duty is. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
do people not understand that shit? Like, like imagine saying I'm the Fortnite killer and only having the just regular the just regular battle royale, nothing else, dude. Fortnite at this point is a whole ass platform.
Yeah, it's a ton of different
So
games.
so you cannot come out here and say I'm the next Call of Duty beater, or I'm the next Grand Theft Auto beater, or I'm the next um or whatever the fuck, right? You can't just come out here and say that stuff when a lot of these games, especially Call of Duty, is multifaceted. Like you might come out and do some sort of number, but Call of Duty's getting its number. Call of Duty is like the, I mean, it's kind of like the Drake of fucking video games right now. You love
Sure,
him or
yeah.
hate him. He's getting that paper. It does not matter what you think. You could hate his guts. He's winning.
Yeah, he's still making money. A lot of it. A fucking historic amount of it, honestly. So yeah, I mean that's a pretty good point actually. Like
Well, it's like, dude, I wish I was in a bad spot like that.
yeah.
You know?
hopefully this is something
What
that
a
like
terrible place to be.
yeah, hopefully this is something that developers learn. Like, I thought we were past this with back in the day when they used to do Halo killers, and then obviously they all come out, and it's like there's some semblance of. I mean, there's a couple games that are just flat out terrible, but sometimes there'd be a semblance of like, okay, there's something good here, but the fact that you called it a Halo killer makes it bad. And
Right.
we're fast forwarding it to now with Call of Duty. The you have a game that you can be proud of here. Work on the game and make it good. But the second you call it, hey, this is a Call of Duty killer, now it's bad because it's immediately being compared to Call of Duty. And whether you like Call of
Right.
Duty or not, the gameplay in Call of Duty, they've got it down to a fucking science. They've nailed it.
Oh man. So talk about it. The Concord's the fucking Overwatch killer. Okay.
Yeah, it's insane. It
Okay.
can't be. It cannot be
Yeah,
that.
they came out with a whole ass second game because of them being successful.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's on like their 15th iteration from success. You're
Yep.
just coming in the game and you think you're just gonna step right past them like AI did Tyron Lue. Like, get the fuck out
That's a
of
great
here.
analogy. I like that. Yeah, dude,
Dude,
it's
well, that's what these people think, man. I understand the ambition and the confidence, man, but you gotta get realistic.
at a certain point you would think so.
Like, if you want to be the next killer of an FPS, like talk about something, around that area. I'm gonna beat the Crucible piece of Destiny. How about that? Start with that. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
If you can contain more players than Destiny Crucible, which isn't a lot, but it's not gone,
Yeah. It's
then you might
enough.
have a little mustard. And then you could say, I want to have more concurrent players in Halo. Not, I want to. You don't even have to say that. Like, you don't have to tell people this. Just have the idea in your head and write it down. Like you feel you feel the
Yeah.
need to say it. Call yourself and leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Tell your auntie, tell your uncle, tell your cousin or your child or something like that. Like, I don't know. But coming out here and saying these wild statements, especially about these big games, and even saying something about like a Halo would be rough because, I mean, like you said, as soon as you mention another game, it's in that shadow.
Yep. It's already a bad look as soon as you do that. So I mean, hopefully other studios look at this and say let's not even do that. Let's not even pretend to do that. So I don't know. Hopefully, it can be something that Ubisoft learns from, and they tell you what they need to learn something because they've had a rough year. They've had a pretty rough go of it this year. So we'll see what happens in that regard. But yeah, that game is unfortunately dead, and that's that. But I don't know if there's anything that I am missing. I don't think there is. And we have been going for almost an hour and a half, which is about a half hour over what we normally do. So we're going to get up out of here. But before we do that, we got to do the outros. So, Ham, start us off. Let them know where they can find you. Let them know what you're up to and what's happening the rest of the week.
All right, yeah. So you can find me on WS Gaming. That's my channel here on YouTube. Or else you can find me on Twitter at AM005 Gaming. I do a ton of content during the week. So you can check me out over on my channel, TSWS Gaming, and hopefully I see you there. We also have Matt that strolls through every
Yeah.
now and then, but every Friday for sure. So
Yeah. Uh, link to that in the description, by the way. So check out that channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like the content and everything. Like he said, there's content almost every day during the week. on that channel. So check it out. It's well worth it. As for myself, you can find me obviously here every week. Videos every week, podcasts every week. I'll say I just released a video today. It's been literally 2 weeks to the day that I released a video. I wanted to have one out last week, but I kind of loosened the grip on myself and just let myself relax for the week, which I guess in terms of making a video was a mistake because by Friday I was sick, and I'm still not 100%, but I'm a lot better than I was over the weekend when I wanted to make a video. So I didn't get to do that over the weekend, but I did just release a video. But normally videos every week, podcasts every week. It's this show Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern, it is the L3R3 podcast with myself. It's me, Twan, and Hard Days Mike. So look forward to that. And then like Ham said, I'm over on his channel on Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern for Bullsitting. And that is always a fun time. So come through and check that out. But with that being said, we're going to get up out of here. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week. Peace.